Greetings guys and welcome back to the channel for another weekly What I Watched. Now I'm trying to get this squeezed in this week for you. It may not go up this week. I'm not going to put video clips in this one. I just want to check with you guys. I don't watch trailers. I actually obviously take these trailers from the internet after I've seen the movie, but I'm thinking perhaps I shouldn't be putting trailers, clips in. I try obviously not to put anything that's a spoiler in there. But maybe I shouldn't be putting the clips in when I'm talking about the movie. So I want your feedback on that, guys. Let me know if you would rather I didn't put the clips in there and just tell you what I thought of movies. I'm not going to do it this week purely because I didn't get a video done this week. I have a tiny window of time tonight to try and get what I watched last week done. So I'm just going to fly through it for you as quick as I can. So no bells and whistles this week, folks. Just me waffling. God love you. So on September 12th, which is Monday, 2 weeks ago, I finally saw Good Luck to You, Leo Grand. Now, this is one that I had been looking forward to after having heard several members of the cinema squad speak about this one. This is a story, Emma Thompson is an older lady. She has never been sexually fulfilled in life. She has never reached a climax, and she hires a young man to come and change that for her. So this follows their meeting, how they get along together. There are some, if you don't want to see an older woman's body, uncomfortable scenes in this. We do have full frontal nudity of Emma Thompson in here, and I know a lot of people, I love it personally because I like to see people in older forms represented. I don't want to just see beautiful people. I want to see women of a certain age. I want to see big people, small people. I want to see all people. Maybe I'm just a pervert, who knows. So, Good Luck to You, Leo Grand. This is a really heartwarming film. Emma Thompson is a fantastic actress. I love her. I've always liked her, but I fell in love with her when I watched her role in Love Actually. That movie I like, but her scenes and her story I love. Where she feels that her husband, that things haven't been going the best with, has bought her this beautiful romantic gift, only to find out that he's bought it for whoever he's having an affair with, and she's just got a CD. That breaks my heart, that scene. Makes me cry every time I watch it. You can just feel her heart crush as you watch it. And we're not talking about Love Actually, sorry. So Good Luck to You, Leo Grand. She's such a vulnerable character in this. She is so lovable, she is so likeable. She genuinely has gone through life and never experienced physical pleasure with another person. And not because she hated her husband, it just never happened. He wasn't really a very generous lover, shall we put it that way. And there are a lot of things that she never got to try and never got to experience, and she wants to do that with this young man. My eyebrows were raised at the thought, because Emma Thompson is considerably older than me, and I'm looking at this lad thinking, oh no, I couldn't do it. But it was a beautiful movie. Performances were excellent. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 and I would thoroughly recommend it. But as I say, if you have anyone in your life that you feel a teensy bit uncomfortable watching certain things around, this is not the movie to watch with people like that. I will say that much. So the next one is Tiny Cinema. So this is a movie, it's, yes, this is an anthology movie. I'm not particularly a fan of anthologies, but I quite enjoyed this one, and I shall tell you why. This is a horror anthology, and it's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in your life, and I'm watching it thinking, oh good god, this can't get any weirder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to link Arrans from Screen Star's review where he goes into detail about each individual story. I don't want to do that because I don't have time. I'll be waffling all night to you, I'll be boring you senseless. If you want to know a little bit more about it, please check out Arrans' review where he gives you a rough idea of what happens in each movie. Or each segment. I don't like to know as much as that sometimes, so I'm not putting that in here. So loads of stories, quite a lot of them centre around sex and partners. I don't think I've seen anything like this before. I felt it was really unusual, but I enjoyed it. I really liked it. Some of the stories were just, you have to laugh out loud at some of them. They're so preposterous. It is a horror. There are some great effects in it, but it is quite silly. But I enjoyed it. And I generally don't enjoy anthologies, guys, and I like this one, so I would recommend Tiny Cinema. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Now for an anthology, from me, that's a high rating. Excuse me. On the 13th, I watched 2 movies. The first was See No Evil. Oh right, this isn't a movie, this was on Netflix. This is a documentary about 3 retired chimpanzees. One of which was Cheetah from the Tarzan movies, one was one that went through horrible experimentation with NASA to do with like impact testing, and the other was one that had been taught to communicate using language and pictures. It followed what these animals were when they were working, and then what am I doing? I hate that. But anyway, and it follows them in their retirement and how they are today, and it gives us a little bit about their stories. I love anything to do with animals where I know I'm not going to see something horrible and nasty. Now, there were certain parts of this where we get to see one of the chimps, what happened to him as he was at NASA. Really didn't want to see it, really uncomfortable with that. Other than that, this is beautiful. It's really well made. The relationship that the gentleman that owns Cheetah has with him is wonderful, and he has a birthday party and he's got a hat and he's eating this cake and it's beautiful. If you like that kind of thing, I would thoroughly recommend it. I think it's a really good documentary. But as I say, there are those scenes in there that I find quite upsetting, so that's a warning for you, but it was interesting. On that same evening, I watched a movie called Marta Suitcase. Right, okay, this is also a documentary. I believe it was on Netflix. It's about a woman called Marta who has undergone physical, psychological, mental abuse at the hands of her husband. The story behind this one is about her family not supporting her, about, let me just open this, apologies, I'm trying to work out, was it Portugal? La Maleta de Marta. I know her parents didn't support her. They were embarrassed by her wanting to leave her husband even after he hit her with his car, tried to run her over, tried to kill her. And it only became a law where she lives in, was it 1991? It only became a law that you couldn't sexually abuse your wife. I can't remember exactly, but it was really shocking stuff. Now, I don't know if it's perhaps Portugal. I'm looking on here and it's not telling me, so I do apologise. But Marta's case is particularly significant because it breaks many stereotypes about gender violence. For one, she never suffered physical abuse before the attempted murder and does not come from modest or marginal family. It's basically about what she went through, and it's okay. It could have went a bit deeper. It ran alongside this like meeting for men that are the perpetrators of the violence, and it's trying to find a way to treat them rather than to demonize them. But in a lot of the talk, I felt it was normalizing people that just beat women, that this is a normal thing that men will feel, and some men will be able to stop themselves and some men won't. And I thought, no, most men I know don't feel like they want to beat their mother or their sisters or their partners or whoever. So I felt some of it was a little bit insensitive. I'm all for trying to, you know, rehabilitate these people, but sometimes you can give a little bit too much sympathy to the perpetrator and not quite enough to the victim, and I felt that skittered on the edge of that. Skittered? Is that a word? On the 14th I watched a movie called The Catholic School. This is about an all-boys school in Rome, a Catholic school where something happened to some females. I don't want to tell you too much. These boys are warped individuals, at least some of them are, and they perpetrated something horrendous. It's a true story. On doing some research after it, it's very close to the truth. Even the scenes of the movie, I saw pictures and very, very close to what happened. This is something I hadn't heard of. I don't want to go into loads of detail, but I will say it involves loss of life, it involves women, and these boys, just how, oh, they were just hideous. Very well acted to the point that you find yourself loathing these men, these boys, sorry, they weren't men. And basically we follow them to start with before anything happened. We follow through when the horrible thing happens, and then afterwards we get at the end what happened, what the aftershot for that was, and all that made me quite angry, to be honest with you. This one is either on Netflix or Prime, I believe. I said I've written a very difficult watch when you know the history or where the movie is going. The fact it's a true story makes it all the more disturbing. Now, I didn't know where this movie was going because they used the word, I will tell you this much, they used the word massacre in the write-up The Name of the City and Massacre. So I had the opinion that it was maybe a mass shooting or something like that. It isn't. It's not that. It's not a massacre. It's not mass killing. It goes down a completely different path, and one that I personally found really uncomfortable to watch, but it was very well made. So if you can deal with difficult subject matter, I would recommend that one. That's The Catholic School. I gave that a 3 out of 5. Next, I watched Joe Coy live from the Los Angeles Forum. This is a comedian. Now, I was in the mood to just be entertained. I didn't want to think. This, in a nutshell, there were some very funny moments, but the guy just gets too political. I've written some funny moments, but the comedy timing was way off. Too much time was spent on one-liner joke until every bit of life had been squeezed from it. What I mean is, really good comedians know when to move on when the audience are on a high. If he got a laugh at something, he just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it until the audience had laughed itself out and had come back down. You need to be able to keep an audience riding on the crest of that wave. Watch some Billy Connolly, mate. That's all I'll say. And at the end, for a good 15-20 minutes, he got really political. And I don't feel you go to watch a comedy show to have people tell you how you should feel and what you should believe and be political. I'm not saying I disagreed with a lot of what he was saying, but I'm saying it's not the time or the place. So I give that a 1.5 out of 5 because I want it to be entertained, and I just left it feeling vaguely irritated. It started quite high, but he lost me halfway through. On the 17th, I watched the new Pinocchio movie from Disney+. As we all know, I adore Tom Hanks. This is weird because visually this looked beautiful. A lot of people disagree with that, but I think most of it looked gorgeous. I loved how it looked. I wasn't so keen on how Pinocchio looked. I thought he should have had more of a wood look about him. He looked quite plasticky. My main issue with this is they changed the ending of it, and it's like, what? I know you're trying to do this to make it like woke, as the word is. I don't like using the word woke because I think people... Anyway, they tried to make it fit in with modern ideals. There's nothing wrong with how it was. It's a fairy tale, leave it alone. It doesn't have any magic about it. Tom Hanks, I love Tom Hanks, but even he couldn't save this for me. It just left me cold. I watched a version of this with the guy that was in Life is Beautiful, the Spanish actor, Roberto Benigni. People hate it. I adore it. It's so weird and twisted and beautifully twisted and weird. Check out Roberto Benigni's Pinocchio if you want to watch something a little bit different, and come back to me and tell me what you think. And on the same evening, I finally watched Crimes of the Future, which has been on my watch list for so long. This is one, Lisa's at the minute trying to remember what the concept was. I've written dull, 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 terrible execution of an interesting idea which barely scratches the surface. So this is all about presenting art out of like some kind of weird surgery where people can operate on themselves, and the main actor, whose name's escaping me at the minute, is growing new organs. It's all very weird. It is a body horror. It's Lisa, you're shocking, you're terrible. After the human species adapts to a synthetic environment, the body undergoes new transformations and mutations. With its partner Caprice, celebrity artist Saul Tenser publicly showcases the metamorphosis of his organs in avant-garde performances. Tim Lin, an investigator from the National Organ Registry, obsessively tracks their movements, which is when a mysterious group is revealed. I don't want to read any more. It's got Viggo Mortensen, Lea Seydoux, I can't pronounce that, I apologise. Kirsten Stewart I really liked in this. I do feel she gets a lot of flack, but I think she's quite good at what she does. I will say the sound design in this annoyed the arse off me. I had to keep turning it up because everybody seemed to be whispering all the time, and then I would get drowned out by music. So the sound design was poor in this, I felt. Visually it looked great, the special effects were fantastic. The performances were all spot on, but I was bored to tears. Something about as interesting a concept as this, where they're opening people up and like delving about inside, and they seem to be getting some sort of sexual pleasure from people hoking about. From someone that's had a C-section, there's no pleasure to be had from someone hoking about on your insides, let me tell you this. Had so much potential, fell flat for me, to be honest with you. And I hate having to say that because I was really looking forward to that one. I do apologize, this is awful guys, I am really rushing, but I'm trying my best. Margo, on the same day again. I was so disappointed I refused to go to sleep until I watched something else, so I watched Margo, which is getting terrible ratings. I liked it better than Crimes of the Future. I think I gave Crimes of the Future a 2.5 out of 5. I give Margo a 3 out of 5. Yes, it's ridiculous. Yes, there's a lot of issues. It was stupid, silly fun. As I've said, ridiculous, silly fun. Nope, it's not going to win any awards, but it was easy, entertaining when you want to switch your brain off. This is about a group of young people who are mostly really unlikable, it has to be said, in a very fancy smart house in the middle of nowhere. And that smart house it's a person in its own right. It's a murderous individual. It doesn't want to take any shit from no one. And it starts to pick these young people off one by one. Very easy premise. I find it thoroughly entertaining. Really liked the special effects. They were spot on. It's not very thought-provoking. It's not going to win any awards. The people are really unlikable, and it's very predictable, but the special effects were good. So after somebody numbing my brain with Crimes of the Century, and I bet I get so much flack for that, I bet people love it, I enjoyed Margo, so there we go. Maybe I'm having a stupid week, who knows. Finally, on the 18th, I re-watched #Alive. We were looking for a film to watch with my son that wasn't going to be too scary, but that he was going to enjoy, so we had a good flick through Netflix, and I thought Alive would be a good option, and he did thoroughly enjoy it. This is a movie set during the pandemic where a virus is spread out. I suppose it's those kind of zombie movies that aren't zombie movies, it's a virus rather than the living dead, so to speak. And this follows a young man in an apartment block trying to survive this outbreak. I loved it the first time I watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed it the second time I've watched it. 4 out of 5. Spot on. Really like it. Isaac really enjoyed it too. And finally, on that same evening, now I quite like this, and I know this isn't going to be popular. It's called Do Revenge. It's on Netflix. This is a movie, quite a twisty movie about, I'm trying to open it up to see if I can read you the synopsis, because it's going to be more interesting than what I say. A dethroned queen bee at a posh private high school strikes a secret deal with an unassuming new student to enact revenge on one another's enemies. So Sarah Michelle Gellar's in this, much older, she's not one of the teenagers obviously. Maya Hawke is in this. I've only just discovered that Maya Hawke is Ethan Hawke's daughter. I knew she was Uma Thurman's daughter. She looks just like her mum. I didn't know that Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke had a thing, and you know, I didn't know. Camille Mendes, Maya Hawke, Austin Abrams, Rish Shah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Talia Ryder, Alicia Bow, Eva Capri. I'm not going to read any more. So these two unlikely friends get together and they want to make each other's life better by getting revenge on whoever has wronged them in the past. And it sets off a ball rolling completely out of control to places that these girls didn't see coming, or did they? There are a few twists in this. I enjoyed this. I found myself really getting involved with the characters. There's nothing, I said to my husband as we're watching, there's nothing as nasty in life as a teenage girl. We can be, I'm not a teenage girl, but I was once. Teenage girls can be hideous, they can be nasty, they can be manipulative. I want that type of girl, but I was the type of girl that was walked over by girls like this. Kids today I feel so sorry for, with the world of social media that we didn't have to deal with as teens. But this totally taps into that very insular, selfish, self-obsessed, just teen girl thing. And I enjoyed it, I have to admit, and I don't usually go in for these kind of movies, but I like this one. And I gave that one a 3 out of 5. So that's what I watched a couple of weeks ago when I didn't get what I watched done. I don't know if there's anything there that you can take anything from or give a go or watch. But as always guys, thank you for watching, and your support means the world to me. Put below anything in the comments that you would recommend that I watch, or if you disagree with my views on any, if you think I should maybe give them another go, if I'm in a different mood, whatever it may be. Pop it down in the comments guys, and I shall get back to you eventually. I do eventually. So thanks so much for watching guys. Over and out, Brown Lisa loves.